So this week we are working and looking at the budget, and all the hard lifting has been done. So we've got an agreement in place. It does increase the budget somewhat, but we're using money that we have a one-time use for, and then spreading the rest out so that we can use it in years to come. So the main work was the state budget this year, 2022. So the extra available federal dollars made many decisions easier than expected. In other words, we can take those dollars and use them to do like once in a lifetime projects, but we could still have a surplus of probably around $3 billion. So I was glad that there was money for infrastructure work in Macomb County, particularly to help Public Works Commissioner Candace Miller continue the lake cleanup and improve water quality. We've got $2 million coming in for Capacitando to improve the detention and make sure that we don't have to continue sending sewage and stormwater into the lake combined. So I really, really like that. Hopefully it'll take just a short period of time before we're able to effectuate and use that money. We also used, we're making a down payment of $150 million into the Unemployment Trust Fund so that businesses would not have to pay for the state's mistakes in dispersing tens of millions of dollars in fraudulent claims. What a follow-up that was, and when you look at it, some of the people want to try and say, okay, the fund needs to be reimbursed and we need to tax people more. That's not the case. That's not true. It shouldn't happen that way. No one should be penalized for what UIA did in their department. And we could have that trust fund whole again so that businesses don't have to put more money into it than what they've already been doing. We've also dedicated about $200 million in federal COVID relief funds for use on transportation. And this money will go directly to local governments to repair the bridges in our communities. That's so important that we get that done and make sure that it's done timely. So let's not spread it out too long, but let's start working on it. And then we're making a deposit of $500 million in the state's rainy day fund. We had to dip into that reserve during the pandemic. So we need to build that back up again to prepare for the next emergency. The budget itself is it's not a plan to help control and monitor state spending, but it's also a policy document about our priorities, what we want to do going forward. So I'm glad to see language in the budget that would stop any effort by the state to implement a vaccine passport. No one should have to provide a vaccination card to receive vital services or access government facilities. Now, there's more battles still to be fought. There are literally billions of dollars in federal COVID relief that was not spent yet in this budget. But both parties have really great different ideas about where these funds need to be invested. We have to go beyond the differences and say what really needs to get done. So again, and I don't want to remind you too often, but it is our children's and grandchildren's money we're talking about. And this represents a massive increase in the federal debt. We need to be very deliberate and responsible in making generational investments that will benefit the most people for years and decades.